Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. Fulham 0, Manchester United 1. The Reds winning a big 3 points away from home. Joining me is Joe Smith, as always.
How are you?
Joe, I mean, a 91st minute winner from Bruno Fernandes. Listen, it's a win away at Fulham in November, but it feels a lot more than that.
It's a hell of a lot more than that. United were desperate for a win today for so many reasons. The main one, of course, is that we just lose too many games. But there's also so many sort of smaller fragments to all of this. The way that, Ten Hag is being questioned, other little bits that go into it, like clean sheet today, another, I thought, very good performance from Harry Maguire after getting his eye socket absolutely battered after about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Looked like he might have to come off. I thought he was excellent today. Certain players as well putting in good shifts. Pellistri looking good when he came on. Bruno Fernandes getting a goal as well. Someone who's had so much stick. He's had the captain's armband metaphorically ripped off him by about, half of the media over the last couple of weeks. Like, it was excellent to see him doing like that. Dallo with a sort of goal clearing block at one end as well after the poor game he had the other night. I just thought it was so needed, and yes, Fulham had some chances, and Antony had to pull a couple of saves off, but a clean sheet after the defending we've been doing this season, a late goal, which is always great to see, but a goal for Bruno as well. It was absolutely massive. And now here's the thing that happens, and it always happens in football. You go from being X amount of losses in X amount of games to going, 4 wins in our last 5 in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Like, you go, hang on a sec, that's a decent run.
Yeah.
Like, these things turn so quickly, especially when you're not drawing. You can have this thing of like, we've won this many, and now that's a positive foundation to build off. The performances still aren't great. I thought we were a lot less bad this week than we have done recently. But the win is all that matters, and let's just keep getting some sneaky wins. I said it before the game, we aren't in a position to play great football and dominate games and win games. But what we are in a position to do is play compact, do the right thing, and sneak a few wins until that confidence comes back.
Yeah.
And I need to make a shout out, I'll talk maybe more in a little bit, but the away fans today were absolutely sensational, start to finish. A proper, it's the oldest cliche in the book, but the fans sort of sucking the ball in the net.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to apply that,
today
was the day. They were just amazing from start to finish. Just one of those games we had to win. We won. Fantastic.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, no one's going to pretend that that's the great game of football. And in terms of the spectacle of it, I'm not going to be sitting here in 10 years' time talking about that time on the 4th of November when we put on a masterclass against Fulham.
Yep.
For large parts of the game, especially in that second half, Fulham had more of the ball. We were a bit sloppy with our passing as well. And it became a little bit frustrating. And I felt sorry for Rasmus Hojlund when he got subbed because he hadn't had anything in terms of chances. He'd been feeding off scraps. But you said it before the game and you were right. It was all about the win. We needed 3 points after the result against Manchester City in the league, after the result against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. The pressure on the manager, the pressure on some of these players. Talk of dressing room unrest. Talk of Sir Jim Ratcliffe already having earmarked a replacement. You need to sort of just alleviate a bit of that with a win. You just need those 3 points. Doesn't matter how you get them, just get them. And I actually think, in terms of an away win, I think we're almost good value for it. Almost good value don't make sense. I think we were.
Well, we scored 2 goals and conceded none.
We scored that goal in the first half. It should have been given. The subjective offside thing is just a load of nonsense. I've never even heard that before. But that could have been like, oh, well, that was it. That was our one big chance to win the game. And, it ends 0-0. And if that had gone our other way, we would have had a win. But we didn't. We kept going. Pellistri, obviously, was involved in that goal. I thought he did really well. Just keep going, not to give up. And then Bruno, who I thought had actually been a bit sloppy, if I'm being honest, in that second half. I think he got man of the match as well in the end, which I feel personally is a little bit harsh on Harry Maguire, but you may disagree.
Yep.
And then he finishes on the death with a good finish as well. So, yeah, it is 3 points. That is the most important thing. I'm not too bothered about the fact that performance wasn't vintage. I haven't seen a United vintage performance since Fergie left. But we get the 3 points and we needed them. Going into some of the comments here, so make sure you are getting involved in the chat. Hit that like button as well. There's over 2,000 people watching. Let's get to 500 likes. Andrew James, who's been a member of the Academy for 12 months. 3 away wins in a row. Not top opposition, but something to build on. Huge credit to Evans, who has started all 3. Thought Jody Evans did well today. JJS says positive signs. Maguire solid. Pellistri has to start over Antony. Agree with that. Garnacho and McTominay also good. I'll take a sneaky win. 2-0 in my head. I love that. It's very Jose Mourinho like. I'm counting that first goal. We won 2-0. David I says the supporters need a mention. As Joe did. They were off the charts in the second half. Without them, we don't win. Adel Wolf says, are these players down in tools or physically, mentally incapable of following the manager's instructions? I don't know what's worse for pro players. I think they kept going today. I think you can criticise a lot of what United did today. I think you can say our passing wasn't good enough. At times we got caught out of position defensively. I think you can argue about that. But I think in terms of effort, which is, I know it's basic, but that's what we wanted. More effort, more energy, keep going, fight, win your 50-50s. There was a lot of that. Yeah. Sometimes you want to see that. I want to see players flying in. I want to see players getting stuck in. I want to see players believing they can get a winner. And we did all that. Detwork, who's been a member of the academy for 35 months, says, last minute winner, and tonight I see Cantona. Today's a good day. Absolutely love that. Brian Casey says, Pellistri showed more in 15 minutes than Antony has in 4 games. Needs to start against Copenhagen. Quite a few people sort of talking about Facundo Pellistri. I'll get to that in a minute, but Jonesy says VAR needs bidding off. How can offside decision be sent back to the on-field ref? Ridiculous. Jibrani Ngongo says United's winner against City last season was a subjective decision. Go figure. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about VAR. We'll get to Pellistri in a minute. I want to talk about the VAR decision. Subjective offside, it seems nonsensical.
Yeah, just rubbish. The whole thing was rubbish. Like, it's just one of those goals that in the past, for 99.9% of the history of football, there is not even any question. The manager, the opposition players, the press would never come out after the game and have any problem with that goal going in up until 2016 or whatever it was when VAR came in. That is just a goal 100 or 99.9% of the time. And now you go, okay, well, the person who assisted wasn't offside, the person who scored wasn't offside, but someone else who wasn't involved in the goal was offside. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to come up with a rule for determining how involved someone who isn't involved is in a goal. And does he cross the threshold of interfering with play? And again, that's where the subjectivity comes in. What is interfering with play? I don't know.
No.
I don't know what it is, because it's not touching the ball, because obviously if he touches it then he's offside, he's interfered, so you don't have to touch it to interfere with it. According to the rules, you have to stop the opposition's ability to touch the ball, and I don't think he does that. I think that their player that the ball comes over isn't getting that either way. He's closer to Garnacho. The ball's coming this way, Maguire is this side of him. So to get the ball, he has to go this way, not Maguire's way. Maguire's not blocking him, and he still can't get it.
No.
So how come you can't get the ball? The ball's gone over you. Maguire's the side that the ball's coming from. So you're trying to go this way and he's here. He's not blocking. He's not. And then the ball gets played across. Maguire doesn't touch it. He doesn't stop the Fulham player getting it. He's not interfering. He goes for it, tries to kick it, but he doesn't kick it. I just think it's just crap. And especially when you see the City goal earlier in the season. Or who was it? Was it Rodri? Who is it who's stood 2 yards offside?
I think that's one even Haaland said was unfair. It should have been offside. And he admitted it.
He stood in front of the keeper, miles offside. Right. He gets out of the way of it, clearly interfering, goal given. And today it's just crap.
It's just frustrating as well, because it feels like every controversial decision since the Wolves game has gone against us. The Garnacho one at Arsenal, the Brighton one where Marcus. Did it go out of play? Didn't it? Probably did, but you can't be 100% certain. I don't think you can.
No, because the technology doesn't work on the goal line.
The Spurs game where it's Romero handballing it from Garnacho's shot, and then today as well, and then the City penalty. Sorry, so you've had like 5 on the spin where it could have gone either way, and they've all gone against us.
And by the way, look at United's goal again. Look at Hojlund, who is also being grabbed and pulled like he did to Rodri the other week and got a penalty given against him. Like that, we said it at the time. Everyone knew it at the time. You watch that Hojlund penalty against City, and you say, yes, he's pulled him. Yes, maybe technically it's a foul, but they do not give them for the rest of the season. And we're seeing it already today. We don't, and it's cost us. And it hasn't cost us the game. It's cost us a goal. And I do think that United suffered from that, because we're not, like we said before, we're not playing very well. No. So losing a goal when we never score is a really big issue. And I thought that buoyed Fulham a little bit for the second part of the first half. And the first part of the second half, there was a time where Fulham had like 85% possession and they looked good.
Yeah.
A couple of good saves from Onana. But I just want to talk about Harry Maguire quickly. And I've got a few stats here.
Go for your stats, and I'm going to get into some of the chats because there's loads of people in the comments.
Yeah, and he's slowly getting his sort of, not reputation back, but we've kind of lost that everyone's mocking Maguire after every game thing, which I think is very good. He got battered in the face in the first 5 minutes. You could see clearly his eye was swollen up, took a real shoulder in the eye.
Yeah.
Looked like he might have to come off. He was clearly struggling with it. He stayed on, made the most passes of anyone on the pitch. He also, I think, made the most tackles of anyone for Manchester United. And then when you get to most blocks of anyone for Manchester United, headed clearances, more than double the next highest. Defensive aerial duels, 6 out of 7. Headed clearances, 7 out of 7. Clearances, 8 out of 8. Defensively, and he's not, great with his feet. He's not. He's got a low turn and circle. We know all this, but today he really helped us win the game, and I think he's got to get a lot of credit for that. For me, he was United's man of the match, or the man of the match. Like you said, maybe Bruno scoring would sort of tick that away from him, but I just think it's worth pointing out, especially players who have struggled and who have had a lot of criticism, like Harry Maguire has. He was very good today, and he could have easily gone, you know what? I feel shit here. My head's gone. I've done my eye. I'm going to come off. And he didn't. And he stayed on and he was excellent. So just a few really nice sort of signs and stuff from the game today.
Talking of signs, there's a banner in the United end that says play like you mean it. And Scott McTominay spoke about that at the end of the game. He said, we saw the banner before the game and a few of us said, do you know what? The fans pay good money to come and watch every week and the support is relentless towards us every single week and we just want to repay them as best we can. Things aren't going the best at the moment, but it's a building block. We can go and kick on and do better. So there you go. You talk about United fans and people may question banners and stuff like that, but Scott McTominay saying they looked at it and he thought, do you know what? Why not? Also, Ten Hag on Bruno Fernandes, he spoke about that, about people doubting Bruno Fernandes as captain. He said, I don't understand it. Everyone has mistakes and no one is perfect. He's massively important to us. Some of the comments as well from you guys. Keep them coming and keep smashing the likes as well. Fergal McClement says, nice to see hard work leading to it. Eric Ten Hag can now go to this for a reference and work our way out of this, then we can worry about style, etc. I like that. Versi Joe, who's been a member of the academy for 17 months, says, do you guys think we can use Martial on the left wing, Pellistri on the right wing, and have Hojlund up top? I think they'd be a lot more creative for Hojlund. I think Martial's done. Yeah, I don't see anything from. I've not seen anything from Martial to think he should be starting for Manchester United.
No.
And I know people hate on Marcus Rashford, but I think the idea of starting Martial over him is bonkers. Casmofo says VAR can be very. I'd even start Garnacho over Martial, to be honest with you. VAR can be fair, very little at times. However, it seems more like everything has become cherry-picked when it comes to goals. VAR is inconsistent. Absalom Ephraim says, Sancho's time to shine at right wing will be now. Finney says, now Pellistri is also not good enough to start. Don't let this fool you. But he gives us more than Antony does. And we currently don't have anyone else. So we should start then. I think is the point that you're making. Truffle Pup says, Joe's so buzzing, he's going to go home and put some block party on.
I'm going to a bonfire night after this.
Oh, are you?
Fireworks.
Oh, really?
On and off the pitch. Yeah. Get in.
Alan Brown says, is Varane injured or what's going on with him? Well, he came on, so I don't think he's injured. I think it's tactical. I think the manager just prefers Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire together. I think he thinks that's a partnership because he started that partnership in the derby, I think it was. Varane was available. Again, today he started him. Varane was available again. So, I don't know. It does seem a little bit of a weird one because for me, Varane should be starting if he's fit. Brian Casey says, Hojlund was right to be annoyed coming off. We cried out for him for years and then we don't know how to use him. He comes off and then we cross the ball. I think the thing with Hojlund as well is you've got to remember, we have to manage him a little bit too because he runs himself into the ground. He's only 20 years old. He's had injury problems. He was injured when we bought him. When I say injury problems, I don't mean he's injury prone. I mean he's not been physically fit for the entire season. So maybe there's times when you do need to take him out of the team. Now, I know it's an unpopular decision. We saw it at Old Trafford when I think he got subbed and it was getting booed. But I do think there's an element of managing him and also just the fact that sometimes you've got to give the opposition something different to think about.
Yeah.
And if it's not working, it wasn't, because he wasn't getting any chances, then maybe you do mix it up a little bit. And listen, I'm not going to question a manager or question his tactics in terms of in-game management when at the end of the day we won. And one of the subs had a big impact on that.
Yeah, and like you said, if he's not scoring, let someone else have a go at scoring. I get it. Like, I think that he plays well, and like you said, he's a young lad. He runs his arse off. He's playing well. He needs to get a bit of luck in the final third. And he said there, we cried out for a play like that for years, and we don't know how to use him. That's the issue. Because they've not used to having a play like that 4 years, it's taken us a while to get used to it. We don't know how to put crosses into a striker. We don't, know the runs of him. And he's also learning his trade as well. Yeah. He's a young lad who's even maybe 20 years old almost understates it, because when you look at how many professional games he's played, it's very few compared to a Kylian Mbappe at 20 or a Wayne Rooney at 20. Yeah. He's someone that is coming through. He's had 2 or 3 full seasons in top flight football. Or so, I think, what was it, 1 season at Atalanta, and the rest was in Copenhagen and other minor leagues. So
where did he go? He went from let's just have a look at him. Yeah, he went from Copenhagen to Sturmgrass.
Yeah,
spent a season, I think, at Sturmgrass. A season and a bit at Sturmgrass. Then went to Atalanta and then come to United. He's played in total 77 games.
That's
I think
what I'm saying.
And he scored. Oh no, sorry. In total in his career, he's played I think 100 games and he scored 30 goals. So he's played a lot of games for a 20-year-old, but it's not like he's one of those that's been constantly in the team since he was 17, 18. It's not like Wayne Rooney did.
No,
or Michael Owen did.
Yeah, he's coming through, and this is his first or second season at a big club after Atalanta last season. So he's learning on the job as well a little bit. And it's going to take some time for that all to gel together, and that's okay. We don't need to destroy our wingers straight away because Hojlund isn't scoring. We don't need to destroy Hojlund because he isn't scoring. Let's think about the situation here. We're shit. We're struggling to make chances for anyone. He's a young lad. It's going to take a bit of time, and that's all right. Sometimes things just take a bit of time, and you have to wait. And I think he'll come good because he looks like he's got a lot of natural ability, but we just have to wait, and that's fine.
Yeah. Just on Bruno, someone just tweeted a stat. Bruno Fernandes has been involved in 122 goals in 200 matches for Manchester United in all competitions. Yeah. That return's quite good. The sort of flip side to that is that first period was so prolific, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was amazing. I think he was like the most prolific midfielder almost in Premier League history for the first 50 games, whatever it was. Yeah. No midfielder ever in the Premier League had got as many goals and assists as Bruno Fernandes has done. He's had to change the game slightly. The thing with Bruno is it wasn't perfect today, but he did what he used to do for us quite a lot. Where he'd have a game where it weren't working for him, but he'd pop up with a goal.
Yeah. And
you can forgive that, especially if it's a winner. We just need to see a bit of consistency, not just from Bruno Fernandes, but I think throughout the team as a whole. And hopefully today, a big win, a clean sheet, the last minute nature of it all can give us that confidence. I was hoping the Brentford game would be a platform for us to kick on, and it didn't really happen. I know we got a win against Sheffield United and Copenhagen after that, but it wasn't like it was a springboard for anything, because then we lost to City and then obviously got knocked out of Carabao. Maybe if we can get this sort of go into the Copenhagen game and then beat Luton, going in that international break on the back of a few wins, I think would be massive. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think, and make sure you are hitting that like button as well. Albano Doko says we need fighting spirit. Other things will come. Yundus says, is Mainu got a City? Reports that Kobe Mainu City could be in for him. Don't know how true that is or whether that's likely. Tactic Gaming says Bruno is a skilled player, no doubt, but he's petulant and not captain material, period. The thing is, I think a lot of this comes from pundits as well, because Roy Keane dived on him, didn't he, after the City game and said he's not a captain. Remember last season after the Scousers where Neville hammered him, and I think he does get a lot of stick. And the thing is with Bruno is the can be games where I get frustrated with Bruno Fernandes and the ability he's got and some of the performances he's put in, you think it isn't good enough. But I think when you look at the issues you've got going on at United, Bruno Fernandes probably isn't top of that pecking order in terms of things we've got to address.
No.
I think he's one of those players that you go, okay, he's probably going to start every week. He starts every week for a reason. I think there's other areas where you go, I don't know who starts.
Yep.
I don't know who our right winger is. Is it Mason Mount? Do you stick Bruno out there? Do you start Pellistri? Do you keep faith with Antony? I want to talk about Pellistri as well and Antony, because a lot of people have been getting involved in the comments there. Go on, you've got
just quickly on Bruno. He's created the most goals and assists of anyone for United this season. Right. So it's not his most prolific year. He's not at his best. He is petulant at times. He does have some characteristics that you wouldn't want with a captain ideally. But who else are you going to make captain? That's the thing it's like you can't just have no captain. You can't bring Roy Keane, a 22-year-old Roy Keane into this team. You have to have someone as captain. Who's it going to be? He's still our most prolific player so far this season anyway. He has brilliant games. He's won us the game today. You have to pick someone. I don't think, Bruno being captain is top of the list of problems.
Calligraphy says, not going to question the manager just because we won. That's not how things work, Jay. I'm not saying you can't question the manager. I've been questioning the manager for weeks. What I would say is it leaves a little bit of pressure on him, because this is a manager who people were saying if he keeps losing games, he could be gone by the end of this winter, or by the end of the year. It could be gone by Christmas. You got the Sir Jim Ratcliffe situation there. No one knows quite what's going to happen there next. Plus, you cannot keep losing matches as United manager. You just can't. Something has to change. So I think it alleviates pressure. But of course, you can always question a manager. We did it before the game, and we'll continue to do it. A lot of people going on about Antony. Antony's getting a lot of criticism. Nash says Antony's garbage. The Reek says Antony does nothing. Just quickly before we wrap up, do you start Facundo Pellistri for the next game, or do you stick with Antony, or do you have another option?
I thought Pellistri, worked well and was dogged for the goal. It didn't come from a lot of quality from Pellistri. It came from hard work and chasing down and pressing, and I think he needs to congratulate him for that. I didn't see Pellistri come on and terrorise the defenders, but maybe he's earned a chance, and certainly Antony's not been very good. First half, I thought he was sort of okay. Second half, he was terrible. Just, I don't know what happened there, but he came out second half and was awful. So maybe give Pellistri a chance. Maybe give Mount a chance. Let's try something different. Maybe give Rashford a go out there. Maybe something else other than Antony. I agree with that, but I don't want it now to be this thing of Pellistri's the saviour, because again we just keep rotating who we're putting the whole pressure of the team on. Like, just let people come through naturally.
I'd give him a go.
Yeah,
I felt harsh on the kid when he came in against Bayern Munich, which is probably one of the toughest games you can go to playing the right wing. Got Alphonso Davies running at you for starters, and it was like, that's his first sort of start for ages. Like, right, we'll throw you in against Munich. You got 80 minutes against them. Didn't really do much, and people go, well, that's not good enough. I thought he did okay against Palace in the was it in the cup? I think he played against them in the Carabao Cup. Wasn't great, but he was all right. And then just looking not Brighton. Palace in the league game, he didn't really do a lot, and then that's it almost. So I think I understand your point of you've got to give someone an opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe now is the time to give him a run, because Antony, I know he got it. It's different because we spent a lot of money on him, and he scored those first goals initially, didn't he? When he came in, and then he had a spell of about months in terms of goals and assists in the Premier League. I know he did well in Europe, so I don't know. Maybe we do need to stick with someone. Let us know anyway what you think. Get involved in the comments and the chat. J287 says I'd go Garnacho and Rashford on the wings. Henry Kelman isn't a Pellistri fan. Bilal Khan says saving Varane for Champions League. Acorn Electron says Pellistri deserves his chances. Antony's had his and done well, not a lot. Glenn F17 says Pellistri should get a go. He can't be worse than Antony. Daniel McCauley says VAR garbage. I'm going to leave it there. Yep. Listen, big thank you to everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Joe, where can people find you?
Sloppy Joe's podcast. New episode out yesterday, so go and check that out.
Lovely. Also coming up, we're going to have Andy Tate on the channel. We're going to get his take on everything. Plus Adam McCullough as well will have his review. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Motti. This has been a review of a big win. A huge win over Fulham for Manchester United. Thanks for watching.